I'm 22 years old. I'm 40 stories up. Inside the bank of 8 elevators in a shaft, downtown Manhattan. I'm an apprentice, first year. 20 stories open above us. Guys scattered about the shaft. Wind is howling. There's planks everywhere. The shafts are 14 feet across. That's 14 feet. My partner, Danny Leahy, big Irish guy, wore bibs all the time. Hands like catcher's mitts and made out of the same leather. He's behind me on a ladder, the other side of another shaft, but his back is to me. And he says, we're working on shooting top track to steel track up to a steel building that had fire protection on it. So we're scraping the fire protection off, and he goes, "Yo, Rock," and that goes with Rockhill and Rockhead and "Yo, Adrian," any other name you could come up with that goes with Rockhill. He says, "Hey, I left my S-wing somewhere over there." And I'm like, and I see it, the other side of the shaft, one plank. And I say, "You want mine?" And he's like, "Nah, I don't want that. I need mine because it's got this hook on it, whatever." So there I am, catch my breath. I look, there's nobody else around. There's about 20 guys and they're all doing other things and I'm his gopher. So I catch my breath, do what he taught me, I look, and I walk. Very deliberately, not looking down. Grab the hammer, turn around, come back. Very proud. Pat him on the leg and say, "Here you go, Dan." He goes right into his hammer hook. Turns around and looks at me, big shit-eating grin. He goes, "I knew you could do it." That was when it sunk in. That was the spark. That was when I really realized I was an apprentice. This man was not only teaching me the trade, but how to be. And it's carried with me through my entire life. This is 40 years ago. In 1979, I slept online with 6 friends of mine when New York City was opening up the books to carpenters. And we went there, our mothers came with trays of ziti. We went there on Friday evening in New York City, 27th Street and Park Avenue. And we were second or third online. By Monday morning, there was 40,000 people, 7 blocks all the way around. And all 6 of us got apprenticeships. They gave out 40,000 apps and 400 jobs. So it was a highly sought after thing. And it was very, very important to me to do something with this opportunity that was given to me. So I worked in the trade for a number of years right in Manhattan. And Danny taught me many things and many, many other mechanics, journeymen that I worked with. And during that time, I beat feet out of the city. I was from the Bronx and Manhattan, and I used to get in my van, with the speakers and head up camping in the Catskills and every once in a while the Adirondacks. And I learned to love the woods, and I made it my mission that I was going to have a wood shop like Norm Abrams, and I was going to live in the woods. Well, be careful what you wish for. So opportunity arose for me to move to the Adirondacks. We took the one child that was freshly born, Michael, and moved to the Adirondacks. And I worked towards my goal, which was building a business from knowing no one, building a wood shop, and working locally, 300 miles away from where I grew up. And was an experience. And I learned that it was very hard to find a labor or help that could do what you wanted to get done. So it became almost a necessity to train people in the trade that I was trained in. And it really became a second love. Besides doing the job, training those people became a very important thing to me. And I hear stories from people that get jobs after they leave me 5, 10 years later, and they'll say, you know, that was the best job I ever had. It's because we put our heart into it and we believe in the trade. Since then, we have been party to STEAM classes, science, technology, engineering, art, and math. We've helped colleges and high schools. We've gone there and helped them build tiny houses. So I've gone from high rises to big houses to tiny houses. We were doing big houses for the first 3, 4, 5 years, competing with all the other local businesses, and that was tough enough, moving New York City guy, moving to the woods and competing against every contractor. So kind of reinvented ourselves and started building really small buildings and tiny houses, and we became a specialty in what we did. During this time, like I said, with the STEAM classes, it became very fulfilling in realizing how these young people and other people that were interested in the trades, how they felt so rewarded by seeing something three-dimensional, something that was paper that turned into a three-dimensional house. So we took it a step further, and we had our own seminars, and we would have 10, 15, 20 people come and spend a weekend or a day, and we would take them through the basics of a tiny house. And one of those people, one of those stories is a young lady, a single mom, kind of on the edge of, I'm not going to use the word desperation, but on the edge of, I want to change my life. I want to live more deliberately. She said, I want to build my own house, my own tiny house, and I want to learn how. And I said, well, got to ask. I'm not going to drive you here. You know, she said, I said, well, can you come one day a week? She said, yeah. Almost 2 hours away, this young lady came 10 months ago and has since then now cut out every building from studs and jacks and queens and kings and cripples and headers, better than most of the rest of us because she's so neat. And she's now learned how to completely wire a house from the entrance to every switch, outlet, wire, fans, appliances. I can just draw things on the walls, and I come back, and again, it's much neater than anything we do, you know. You know, we're a bunch of guys, you know. And now she's doing plumbing. So this is like a sign of what's out there. People need to get back in touch with using their hands and accomplishing something in 3D rather than just our digital world and a computer. We all can't be analysts. We all can't be brokers. We all can't be, dealers. I'm very, very proud of this young lady, and her name is Tricia Wagner. She's right here. The next part of this is giving permission to our youth. It seems that every class, every educational facility, and I'm just going to watch the ceiling here, is training kids to change jobs as soon as they can. There's no longer loyalty. No one wants to stay 25 years and get their gold watch. No one is. It's like taboo for a kid to learn how to use their hands. It's all like, well, if you can't become an attorney, then maybe you could settle in at being a plumber, you know? And then we got to raise that stigma. We got to give permission to these kids. and give permission to the rest, to our youth, because our infrastructure is falling apart. You know, I don't know if anybody's hired anybody lately, but really pricey and they're really hard to find. So my challenge to my fellow tradesmen is, and it's not to everyone out there, because if you're not trained and you didn't grow up like my kids did or some of my students, I mean, I have engineers, one works for Bosch, that the best 3 or 4 years are the ones he spent working under our tutelage. And that's what he's proud of in his life, because he learned how to use his hands, and he will never be hungry. So we have to give permission to these kids that, okay, if you're not going to do this, it's okay to become a plumber or an electrician or a carpenter. And I challenge my fellow tradesmen to take these kids, or even a single mom or anyone else, under their wing and say, this is what you do. You know, learn, you know, teach them what has become mundane to us all. You know, you see the trucks going down the road, you see all these tradesmen out there. You have guys that are Geppettos for 30, 40, 50 years, that trade needs to be passed on. I want them to go out and say, okay, I'll help you at that Habitat for Humanity. Don't go golfing. Go work at the church on the weekend, or go work at the we have meetup groups in the tiny house world, tiny house meetup groups where they can go work on some single person's tiny house. So what I'm asking is for fellow tradesmen to pass the hammer. Thank you.